Hello Australians, it's Doomsday Prep time. What Doomsday, you might be wondering? Well, it's the removal of Google services in Australia. So how will you and your family prepare? Will you have your 5-minute talk with them? In this video, we're going to look at 6 steps to quit Google cold turkey. Show Google you can live without them. And if it comes to it and there is no more Google in Australia, then you will continue to thrive. We don't need Google, you know? Now, if you're an Apple user, this will be much easier for you. And personally, as I made this video, my realization of just how far Google's tentacles spreads scared me a little bit. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm also imagining every Google service being removed, but at the moment in Australia, the case is that the potentiality of the media code will only remove Google search for Australians. Make sure to like this video if you did and subscribe if you'd like to see more, because you don't know, at some point you won't be able to find Techman Pat on YouTube. Thanks Google. Let's roll the intro. Step 1. Stop using the Chrome browser. This one is very easy. If you can't access Google search, then don't use their web browser. In this case, there are many alternatives, even ones that are actually much better. You don't want to support Google if they're not supporting you. Firefox is a great start. Safari from Apple, of course, and Opera and Brave, who support content creators with cryptocurrency. Each browser has the basic functionality, with Firefox being my top choice. Some may ask, why not Edge? And unfortunately, that's based on Chromium, which is a Google product, and we don't like Google right now. Step 2. Switch search engines. Because of course, you've already switched to web browsers, it's time to swap where you search. Now, Google's first product was search, and to this day, it's Google's most profitable and useful tool. But there are alternatives. Now, while some may like the fact that Google personalized each search to you, it also means they know a little bit too much about you. And even if you're not logged into your Google service at the time, they'll still know heaps about you. So nonetheless, part of it is privacy. You can switch your default search engine to something other than google.com. Of course, the first option is Bing, and while it's the most financially sound search engine, as in backed by Microsoft, it's not always the best. DuckDuckGo is a very good alternative, and even yahoo.com can get you where you need to go after a few clicks. So what's the downside? Well, as you may be aware, Google has quite a lot of cash, and it means they can throw cash at their services and make them better. But if more people start using other services, they too can start to match up, but you don't really know if they ever will. Step 3. This one is gonna hurt. Delete your Gmail account. Okay, look, you might not have to delete it just yet, but it does include a form of Google search within Gmail, but you will need to start moving off. My suggestion for alternatives is Pronto Mail, Outlook, Yahoo, and of course iCloud. Personally, I would go with iCloud, especially if you already have an Apple device. Now, when you get rid of your Gmail, there will be a lot of services that you will lose access to, like YouTube, Google Drive, Google Docs, but hey, there are alternatives to all these. Sort of except YouTube, but you can still watch YouTube within your phone without logging in. You see, Google automatically stores search histories, YouTube viewing habits, email metadata, and other information from Google's various products inside an user's advertising profiles. So if you want to do privacy, you will have to get rid of your Gmail. For Google Drive, iCloud, Dropbox, and Mega NZ are great alternatives. Step 4, we're getting a little bit crazy here. Time to swap phones, dump Android. Google Android ecosystems account for 85% of the entire mobile market. And so there's really no choice here, and that is jumping ship to Apple, unfortunately, because without a Google account, your Android phone is kind of useless. Unfortunately, there is very little choice in this regard, because once you're logged in on your Android phone, Google tracks your location, searches, voice commands, and the use of apps and services on your phone. Now, we have no confirmation that Google will remove everything to do with Android phones, and at this stage, again, like I said, it's just Google search for Australia that potentially might disappear, but for the sake of this video, we're looking at everything Google. Step 5. Alternatives to mobile apps. Even if you are on the Apple phone, you'll need to go through and remove Google's apps, because Google utilizes single sign-on for Apple's iOS. So when a user signs into one Google app on their mobile device, Gmail and everything else gets signed in automatically. Some of the apps you'll need to delete is Gmail, obviously, YouTube, Google Maps, Waze, they own that, Google Assistant, Nest, they own that too, Chrome, Google Drive, Google Photos, Google Calendar, Google Authenticator, Google Docs, Google Play, Google Thing, anything that starts with Google, you'll have to delete. Now, your iPhone will have an alternative to each of these apps most of the time, so don't stress. And as a side note, instead of Google Authenticator, you can use Authy. Now, step 6, burn all Google hardware to the ground. We're getting a bit serious now. If you're at home and use any Google hardware, it's time to bin them. Things like Android wearables, Android TVs, Google Home, Chromecast, and Chromebooks. Now, if Google Search is removed from Australia, your smart speaker will not be able to answer you because technically it's using Google Search for the answers. And again, this depends how far Google is willing to take this. There are alternatives to this. Obviously, Alexa, there's also Siri. There are plenty to try at home that kind of do the same thing. Step 7, haha, more than 6. Yes, this is a bonus step. This is for those who want to have Google completely leave their life. You just want Google gone. You're anti-Google everything. This means do not call people who have Android phones. Don't visit friends who have Google devices because they're always listening. Don't use the internet at all. Most of the web is built on Google-owned technology. Yes. So there you have it. Congratulations, you have quit Google, sort of. Or rather, you will survive without Google Search, which is hopefully the aim of this video. If you follow these 7 steps, you're probably living in the 80s, and let me know how many days you're gonna last or survive like this. Google is embedded in our lives so deeply you could even call it cancer. So let me know your thoughts below. How far have you left Google out of your life? I'd love to know. And if I missed anything, please comment below. Let everybody know what else you can remove to have an alternative item or product that will take over your life instead of Google. And maybe I'll even make a follow-up video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe because next time you may not be able to. We could all disappear from YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in another one. Bye.